So we got a problem. And the problem is the Z is in my driveway and it needs to be inside the garage, but it can't be inside the garage because the steering column is disconnected. So the steering wheel does not control the wheels. Gosh, there's a freaking gnat. And I can't turn the wheels to maneuver the car into the garage. It actually was dropped here last night by a tow truck because of a bunch of little issues that took place. Actually, really just two. So actually what happened was I've got this big 300 amp breaker that's a battery disconnect that's supposed to trip whenever something is pulling way too much amperage and protect the electrical system from shorting out or a fire or anything like that. Well, that breaker actually fried while I was sitting at a red light and I couldn't even turn my hazard lights on. So I was sitting in a left turn lane and I've got people coming up behind me, honking at me, pulling up next to me, cussing me out. I'm like, my car's broken, but I can't even signal that my car's broken because I don't have power for the hazard lights. So this is a super ghetto contraption that I set up with jumper cables to essentially bypass the breaker. And I did that so that I could get the car home. So this is just temporary super ghetto fix to get the car home, but we still have the starter heat soak issue. So I'm on the side of the road. I got this connected. It won't start up because the starter is heat soaked. I'm gonna turn the car around. So I'm trying to push the car manually back and forth with a little bit of help because I was gonna try to pop the clutch and I needed to roll it down this little hill, so it needed to be turned around so we could roll it downhill, pop the clutch. And I guess without power steering, it was too much on the steering column and I wound up actually breaking the steering column. So the steering wheel is now disconnected from the wheels. And at that point I was like, okay, I'm just gonna call a tow truck. So the goal for today is to get the Z into the garage, which I actually think is going to pretty much require me fixing the steering rack so that I can maneuver the car to get it into the garage. And I haven't even taken a look at it yet to see where it's broken, but I do see exactly where it's broken. So what exactly broke that's causing the steering wheel to be disconnected from the wheels? Well, actually when the steering column comes down at an angle and it connects to the steering rack, there's a universal joint right there that allows them to spin separately but together, and that universal joint basically broke apart like this. So my plan, in order to get the car back into the garage, because I don't already have a replacement part on hand, is to hammer this back together until it's connected again, and then I can just pull it into the garage. And my buddy Mark's about to come over and help with that. Now I've got Mark under the car, fixing my mistakes.
I'm not really fixing if I can't do anything about it.
So now all we gotta do is just squeeze this back together and then it's fixed and we'll do a top speed test on the highway. So this pin basically needs to go in here and then we're gonna hammer this tight so that it's locked together enough to steer the car to get it into the garage. And then I'm gonna get a new one of these. Dang. I'm probably gonna hurt myself somehow. Careful with your fingers, buddy. Here, let me like hold that so your finger's not so close to it. Oh, fire. That might be enough, dude. There is like a little black screwdriver. It's a thing to pry this apart. Now getting this to slide on here is gonna be some more fun. What if, yeah. Don't you want to ride in this thing? Because you see how much the body flexes when you put the jack on that the door won't even open? Super safe vehicle to have 750 horsepower. The door won't shut.
I'm not gonna shut it.
Dude, I would say that it is highway worthy now. I need to get the tools out of here and then I'll pull this thing in the garage. Easy money. I very much here was trying to be super gentle with the steering so that it didn't break the universal joint again, but honestly it actually would have been fine. I think it's very strong. Now the Z's back in the garage. Now I just have to fix this little jumper cable situation that I've got rigged up. And for that, I got a fuse. Instead of a breaker, I'm now going fuse. Just because, I don't know, I don't really trust the breaker situation after what happened with this one just frying, and a fuse you can just visually see. I don't know, we're going fuse. I got a big 600 amp fuse, which is also way cheaper than a 600 amp breaker would be. Now we're gonna have 600 amps instead of 300, so sort of removing a bottleneck as well. So that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Gosh, there's a freaking gnat.